It's time to talk about positivity, happiness, joy, happy, happy, joy. For those people who remember that song from back in the day. So I'm talking about the best shows we watched in 2022. We watched a lot of great content this year, surprisingly.
Yes,
a lot
we
of
did.
good shows, pretty good, great shows, and then we had some top tier champions battling it out, where it was hard for us to even create a top 3 because we're like, man, we want to give a nod to a lot of different shows. We almost created 2 separate new awards just to give some more nods out to shows that we thought deserved it. That's how high quality these shows are in our top 3. And
let's give some nods then.
I'm going to start it off with number 3. Wait, what? You actually want to do nods?
Yeah, bro. Let's name some shows that deserve and would be on a top 3 list in the future or in the past.
My shout out goes to Doom Patrol, which we haven't talked about at all on the award show today so far. But I thought that show was great. And while I think Tokyo Vice is better, that has gotten much love from us in other places. I think Doom Patrol is an amazing story. It's an amazing tragedy covering a bunch of different characters who just hate their lives and are beaten up and destroyed. And you can relate to it if you ever struggled, have trauma in your life. It's fantastic when it's really, really good. And that's why I deserve my shout out.
Eli, what you got?
My shout out obviously goes to Demon Slayer Season 2. The fact that it didn't make this list just shows how strong these shows are, because we all loved that season of Demon Slayer and Demon Slayer as a whole. This is not a knock on that show at all. It's just there was only a few episodes. There's 12 episodes of Demon Slayer? 11. So when I remember the good parts, I'm remembering the 2 absolutely insane episodes and then the build up to those. That's just not enough to crack our top 3, and it sucks because it was an amazing season 2 to a great total show. But that's why it gets a nod in a top 5, possibly, but not a top 3.
And you know what? My nod is going to Peacemaker, just because that was such a pleasant surprise for us. Pretty sure that one was thrown on the list as a total meme with, John Cena being in there. And then that actually ended up being one of the better shows, one of the good shows that we watched this year. I feel like I can speak for all of us on this one, that it was better than, we didn't expect anything out of it. And then it ended up being really solid and something that we enjoyed.
Absolutely.
And that goes to honorable mentions, man. We really want to give love to everything good out there because we really do hate on the things we do not like. So I think it's worthwhile to give shine to those guys who earned it and those writers. That's what I want to do too. We shit on writers a lot. Writers, when you're on fire, you're on fire. You guys killed all 3 of those shows, and you killed these upcoming shows as well. And I want to start us off with number 3. Probably one of my favorites, but what ended up shaking out as our 3rd favorite overall is Arcane, a video game adaptation to a TV series. What? We have spent so long on this podcast shitting on live action adaptations and adaptations in general of other pieces of media, like Cowboy Bebop, like Death Note, only to come here and put a video game adaptation at number 3 on our list. Yes, it's animated, so they have a little bit more freedom to match up to League of Legends, but they had a blank slate basically because League of Legends is just a multiplayer MOBA with very minimal lore, so they gotta play with it a lot, and they crafted something amazing. The way they built up a cliche of, the Undercity and the Overcity, and they built it up in this amazing world where there's these 3 different factions of the lower, the upper, and this in-between faction trying to create peace between them all. The characters were great, and everything was so unique about it. The power sources, the way they ran their cities, the military presences, the politics in it. Even though I don't hate politics in most shows, I thought they did it okay enough here to where I didn't want to turn off the show. I thought it was all great, and they had some highlights, amazing music throughout the entire show. The animation was so eye-popping. You could see the budget being spent in front of your eyes. You could see the millions gone. And oh my God, they spent so much money on marketing, and they got so many great artists from different genres, rappers like Pusha T and Jid, big explosive pop rock groups like Imagine Dragons, and they did all they had to do to make this show elevated to the top that it could be. And despite all that, it still was just 3 on our top 3 list of best shows of the year. Only number 3.
That being said, number 2, I have some personal bias with why this is so good. And I know we all very much enjoyed this show. But I threw this on the list randomly. I saw it. I was like, it's an anime. It looks interesting. I have no idea what it's about. I'm going to throw it on there. It's Dr. Stone. Now, you take season 1 out of the equation. You take season 1 as a standalone. I think this wins the award this year. The problem with it is that season 2 was just not as strong, and that it was still good. We still all very much enjoyed it. I think we all rated it a 9 to a 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
It just did not close out as our number 1. Season 1 of this show follows Senku, the main character, waking up and just creating a new world after 40. How long was it?
I think it was 3,000 years.
3 to 4,000 years of everybody being turned to stone, everything depleted, resources depleted. I mean, not so much depleted, but everything that humanity has built over the last forever, 2022 years is gone. So just following the creation of mankind in this new world is fantastic. It was interesting from a science perspective, from somebody who does not like science stuff. It was interesting to see the world building. The characters were fantastic. I'm excited to see where season 3 goes. It was just season 2 was not as good, and that's why it falls at number 2 instead of number 1.
And so, sneaking in because of that lapse in season 2 to our number 1 overall show this year, we have Summertime Rendering. Another anime. Now, yes, animated shows swept our list, but they were very deserving. Summertime Rendering was masterful. We've talked about Shide. We've talked about Nagamo. We've talked about Ushio and Shinpei, right? All of those involved in the same show. 3 award winners, all in the same show. Listen, the writing was wonderful. Because we've seen time travel, time loops, trying to fix the past. We had it, around the same time with Tokyo Revengers, and this one did it better. This one was so good in the way that they did the loops and then the start point moving up all the time. It was awesome the way that they wrote that. It was awesome the way that they handled that. And then the fact that it wasn't just a full restart from the same point and things became set in stone once they happened. It was beautiful to see how Shinpei had to navigate that with Nagamo and everybody else. And then when Ushio came back, Ushio was in the loops as well. It was just so cool to see how they worked through all their problems, tried to plan ahead for when loops would happen again and what they would be able to do instead. To see kind of the chess match towards the end between the good guys in Shide and how Shide was also working through the loops, being able to see what was going to happen and how he was going to handle that. The battles they had, the relationships that we saw between especially Shinpei and Ushio, but even just the friendships between some of the other characters and the journey that they kind of went on in their home island, because we don't always see stuff on the little home islands. I enjoy the dynamic, I guess, of a little island, little town, something big is happening. I'm a fan of that. And so that also made it better. But then the fact that it was isolated and they were trying to stop it from, going from anywhere else, it was great. Start to finish, the characters were very good. The relationships were good. The villain was good. The plot line was great. The writing was amazing. It's voice acting, so I can't say too much about that. But it was just so beautiful to watch as well. The scenery, fantastic. The animation, fantastic. That is all culminating into this being our best show of the year.
And we got to hand it the award because we got a fresh new name for the award, which is a question we're going to have to ask ourselves, which is, can you beat Dark, though, award for best show of the year? It's time to answer that question, and that answer is no.
No.
I honestly, I think that question will never have a different answer. I challenge a lot of people to change that, but I can speak for a lot of people when I say I don't think Dark will ever be taken down.
It's a scale-breaking show. Like, we gave it a 10 as is back in the day. It's almost an 11 or 12. Like, Dark,
if we did that kind of shit, it would. Yeah.
It's literally, Summertime Rendering has got a consistent 9.5 from all of us. Half a point away from being a 10 out of 10 show. And you ask us to compare them, and the answer was instantaneously no. Because that's how great Dark is. And that's not disservice to Summertime Rendering. Summertime Rendering is fucking amazing.
The show was so good.
Yeah.
It stuck with me. I've been thinking, I sit down sometimes and be like, damn, I really like Summertime Rendering. I remember this moment, this character. Oh, that was cute. That moment here. And it's just, it still doesn't beat that 3 years later, I'll be around the crib and I'll be like, fuck, I want to watch Dark again.
Again, dude. I want to watch it again so bad.
And
legit,
it's so great.
Summertime Rendering legit is like a top 5 to 10 show for me of all time. It's just Dark is, like you said, man, I find myself a lot like, damn, I want to watch that again. That was good. Damn, I remember that. That was good. Every time we do this year end, it's the Dark show, even if we're not talking about it, man. Like, I keep remembering shit that I'm like, wow, that was fantastic, and nothing will ever beat that.
It's almost like I want to watch it for the first time again.
Oh.
Yeah, I wish I was a Dark virgin, bro.
I want to see that, no spoiler, but I want to see that final scene between the two main characters one more time.
Oh.
And
the dust.
I'll never be able to see it again. I'm trying to keep it vague, asshole. I'm not trying. I don't think I'll ever be able to experience something like that until I do.
Nope. Yep.
And if something comes along and does it, my brother in Christ, I will cry.
Yeah. No, I honestly, I think I might die of happiness if something comes along and beats that.
I almost don't want anything to beat it, though. It's a weird medium between trying to chase that high again, but also I don't want anything to ever beat that.
It's definitely fair.